with Jesseca Simmons from US. She's the director of Emerald Eyes. And Emerald Eyes, her film, is a biographical docu-fantasy based on the life and works of American poet Diane Wachowski. I hope the pronunciation is correct. And her film is very interesting because instead of presenting a biography of the American poet, she takes us on a metaphorical journey through Wachowski's psyche. So it's a very particular film, and we liked it very much. So we were very glad to have it in our selection this year. And yeah, we find it very fascinating because we found that this film opens up a question that is also highlighted by Paul Gonter, who wrote a review about her film. And the question is this, and the question is Paul Gonter who wrote it, but we would like to pose it to Jesseca now. So what makes a biography? And do you think, is it just a list of facts strung together by narrative that summarize a whole lifetime? Or does this just scratch the surface and biography maybe is something else? So how do you feel about this topic?
Well, thank you for asking that, because I think that, even since that review came out, I've been thinking a lot about that, because biographies are very popular. We see a lot of, biopics and documentaries, character portraits coming out. And so people, want to know and connect with other people. But one of the goals I had with Emerald Eyes is to explore, what can count for a biography that goes on inside of ourselves that's not external. So a lot of the stuff that is in Emerald Eyes may or may not have physically happened, but she writes about it as though it were true because it has very poetic or metaphorical significance to her life. And so one of the poems is about incest. About her having sex with her brother. She doesn't have a brother. And so what that poem was really about was a sense of feeling of taboo and feeling very like a lot of shame for something that happened in her life. And she used a fiction to be able to express it to the world in a way that she thought was, reflective of her experience. And so, but it's also kind of a mythology, of course. And within our own selves, we all have our own mythology of, oh, I'm a college professor, oh, I'm an artist, oh, I'm this and I'm that. But not one of them make up the whole entirety of what a person is. And so I think that biography definitely does extend upon the facts in our lives, because some of the most significant things that happen to us, well, I'll speak for myself, is that, when something I know is true and something maybe I'm struggling with to be not true in my own life, like maybe a longing, maybe a desire, something I want to happen, but it's not physically happening, is that more or less true or more or less significant than, something that factually happened? And so I think that there's a lot within biography that that is being explored, I think, by nature of just how popular they are right now. But yes, I think that by and large, biography is something that is pretty underexplored, at least in untraditional ways where we might ponder or ask ourselves, like, what fictions in our lives add to the significance in them just as much as the truths.
Yeah, this is very interesting. I think it's really also very contemporary, because we are filled with images and filled with stories and storytellings, and then these storytellings actually are becoming part of our life. I mean, this has always happened for humans, but now maybe we have even more possibilities than before to get in touch with so many storytellings, that then it's true that our biographies are composed by a lot of different pieces, not just our own viewable experiences, maybe. Yeah. And yeah, and I found this film very interesting also because is a film where there is a very deep dialogue between a filmmaker and a poet, like because you had somehow to try to enter her psyche, her mind. And so this is also very interesting for this festival, because we are actually at this festival was born as a literature and poetry festival, and then we introduced the film section, film screenings. So we are very interested in these possibilities of interactions between poetry and film, poetry and audiovisuals. So what you did is a very interesting process, I think, also for you as a person and as a filmmaker, I guess. And I was wondering if you how did you work on this film, and also if you also had a real contact with Diane, or if it was just your process.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love this question so much. And because I did a lot of research on Diane before reaching out to her. It is her voice in the film, and she loves it. And I did take a lot of artistic liberties with her words in some ways, but she actually really liked the approach, and she said if I had asked to interview her formally, she would have declined, because she wants to, when you build up a mythology like that, like a documentary can take someone along on the ride or reveal all the secrets, and she didn't want it to be the former reveal all the secrets route. And so when I was doing my research before reaching out to her, I had read a lot about the way that she thinks about poetry. And for her, the reader in their imagination, completes the poem, right? It's kind of like when I'm going through and reading through all of her work, some work is going to connect to me, and because just of what I've experienced in the world that might be resonating off of her experience. And so I think that it definitely is a conversation between me and Diane, because that 15 minutes and it's pretty dialogue heavy. It's from over 20 poems that span the course of her entire career, and she wrote her first poem in the 50s. And so I was trying really hard to have nuggets throughout her career, because as far as I know, this is the only film about her. And so I wanted it to be somewhat representative of not just one facet of her career, but several different facets. And so the film itself has excerpts of over 20 poems in them, but kind of spliced together in new ways to create one new giant poem. And before recording, I did, I recorded the piano first and I sent it to her, and I was like, this is the essence of what I want to do. Like, let's work together. And she was like, you get me, yes. So that was really rewarding. But when I finally did connect and reach out to her, I showed her my screenplay, and I was like, this is what I want to do to your work. Like, is it okay? Because only one poem, it's the incest one about her brother, that was the first poem she ever got published. And so that one is in its entirety, but that's the only poem that's complete. And the rest are highly, highly edited. There's like lines that are next to poems like written a few decades ago, then cut to a poem that, she wrote in 2018. And I wanted that kind of feeling that we weren't just in one experience. And so how does one go through and read? She has over 20 volumes. Like, she's very prolific and so talented. How does one even begin to choose what to focus on? I chose what resonated with me. I chose the things that I remember reading and felt like, wow, like I feel something different than when I started this poem. And that was kind of my criteria for picking it. And I think that allowed me to edit it in such a way where it felt like one poem. And I think, I'm hoping, because I did it with such care, that that's why Diane really liked it. But in the end, yeah, it's a conversation between the poet and the filmmaker. And then it's also, I think, another conversation gets added when you turn it into a film, because now it's the poet, the filmmaker, and the audience, and all three of us get to go on this journey together. And I think that by essence of the project, it's still Diane's work, but it's both of us in our interaction that you're kind of bearing witness to. And hopefully, like, the viewer gets other kind of significance. Like I always say, you're going to watch this and you're not going to learn a thing about Diane, but hopefully you'll understand her a little bit better.
Yeah, no, wow, that's very interesting. I mean, for sure, it's a film that is really touching you. I mean, that's what I felt. So, of course, I don't know if I know Diane's better after this film or not, but this is also the beauty of it. Like I can understand that someone who is a poet doesn't want to have a linear biography. Like this is really understandable, and is very nice and interesting. So for sure you can feel from this film that is really touching something. So I'm sure that the audience also of our festival will be able to feel it. And yeah, my next question that I wanted to ask you was related to the monologue, but you already answered, because I was curious about who wrote this monologue. And it's interesting to know that there was this very deep interaction between you and Diane's work, and also Diane's as a person who felt that your interpretation and your creation was somehow resonating with her. And yeah, I think this is a very interesting process, and also probably quite rare, actually. And it's very interesting, the fact that is very much in line with what we are searching, or what we are interested to explore, because a project that we just created somehow. Actually, the first time we started this project was last year, and it is this project in which we asked to some of the poets participating in our festival to write a poem inspired from one of the films that we have in our selection. And this is for us very interesting. There are no fixed rules for this, because of course it's a totally new kind of process. So we are also searching for possible rules, and also how to break then these possible rules that gets created. So the interesting thing is also that one of the poets chose your film to to compose her or his poem. I don't remember. We will publish this poem on our website in the next days. So I find it very interesting, because it's like this process that started with you, then can always continue. And of course, I mean, everyone has his own interpretation and his own his own feeling about the origin of it, which is Diane's work. But it's interesting to know that it's always possible to transform something together, or taking inspiration from someone else, and and make something new. This is
I love that, because I feel like that's where the magic happens. Like I think about all the time, if I never would have read Diane's work, like I would be very different, and I would never have had that chance to respond. And so facilitating more of those areas where people can, communicate and have that conversation in creative ways is so cool. I'm so thrilled. My film got chosen, or my film got chosen. I definitely will send it to Diane when when it comes out.
That's very nice. And actually, we are convinced that this is what art is made for in the end. I mean, to inspire. So of course, if someone who uses maybe a different medium can take inspiration from anything, any artistic production, and it's interesting to see how this inspiration can change shapes through different mediums also, and through different persons. So yeah, we are going to keep this project, and for sure your film and your process inspired us a lot, and gave us also much more strength to go on with this. So that's we are very glad and very grateful for this. And yeah, my last question is just if you are now working on new projects, or yeah, if you want to tell us something about what you are doing now.
So after I made this film, and I made it in grad school, and a few of my colleagues the whole time were very like, is it going to be more than just pretty pictures? Like, what else is it? And so right after this film got made, I was really insecure that I didn't know how to make a real movie. And so I took a few years to make something more traditional, just to, well, one, because, the subject matter really lent itself to a more straightforward film. And I just wanted to prove to myself that you can, you're breaking rules because you can, and you're choosing to. And so I'm really happy because for the last couple years, I've been returning to what I like to call docu-fantasy work. And it's things that I feel like have nonfiction merit to them, but that we can explore in other ways, not just like a fiction project, but how does documentary intersect with fiction and, our dreams and our desires and experimental stuff. And so currently I'm making a documentary, but it's a hybrid experimental type of film about Medusa, the Greek gorgon of Greek mythology. And one of the things that's different about it is that I'm really trying to not have any let's go back in time and have these reenactments. I'm trying to show Medusa back in ancient Greece, because that's a lot of what we see in other documentaries about the subject matter. And so what the whole film is kind of trying to wonder is what's Medusa's perspective? Because basically most things out there are from the hero's perspective or the hero's journey. And so this film kind of looks at how the hero's journey can be highly misogynistic and highly perpetuate really, horrific ways in which we see people, especially women. And so the film is also about gender violence and things of that nature, but it's highly experimental, but also highly documentary driven. And so that's kind of where my heart lies, is kind of trying to play with the format. With Emerald Ice, I always kind of knew what I wanted it to look like and what I wanted it to feel like and sound like. It was highly storyboarded and highly scripted. But with this film, I am relying a little bit more on the nonfiction side of things to tell a very holistic story about Medusa. And so my challenge and what I'm really excited about is to find really organic and meaningful ways for the nonfiction to interact with and influence the things that aren't nonfiction. And so I'm just really excited to be returning to that. I don't know when it will be done. It's a passion project. So I've been working on it since for 3 years already, and it'll probably take another 3 years, but but I love it. So I'm in it. I'm totally in it. I want to imagine what Medusa's story from her perspective.
Wow, sounds very interesting. And I mean, I really appreciate this kind of projects that are really also taking so much time, because sometimes it's true that you grow with your project. So it's important. You wouldn't be able to give the same things if you wouldn't take the right time. And so it's very interesting. And it seems that your interest is in this somehow links between reality and mythology is growing. So it's very nice to hear, and I'm very curious to watch the film when it will be ready. So
Thank you. Me
I
too.
mean,
I will definitely send it your guys' way because it'll be very much influenced by literature. I mean, a lot of stories about Medusa will be in there, so
great.
it'll be interesting. Yes, to say
Yeah,
the least.
yeah, definitely we will be interested to screen it. And yeah, I mean, now I don't have any other question for today. I mean, I of course invite everyone who still hasn't watched your film to watch it, because it will be available from our website or from our YouTube channel until next Sunday. So yeah, 24th of October, and it's really worth to take some time to watch it, because it's yeah, really for me it was really nice to have it in the selection, and I liked it very much. And I mean, I am a filmmaker myself, and I got also a lot of inspiration from it, so it's really worth to watch it.
That means so much. That's the highest compliment. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. And it was very nice to talk to you. And yeah, you are always welcome to our festival whenever you want, when it will be possible to travel more easily, or also just to have a chat like this.
Absolutely. Looking forward to it. And thank you guys so much for having the festival and for doing such a great job, and for that really cool poetry response project. Like, never heard of anything like it. And I hope it keeps going.
Yeah, we do. We are yeah, we hope as well, and we will keep you updated about the development of this.
Oh, so excited. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, Jesseca, for your time. It was very nice to meet you.